Hello everybody and welcome to Sunday Q. Sorry, just a reminder pinned up the side of my phone. I don't know what it said. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. Today brought to you from the Shed Breed, courtesy of me and Vince the Bear. I will be very pleased. Yeah, basically I normally do it on Saturday morning, record it to go out on Sunday morning, but I'm now learning how long it takes if you actually want to look after free trucks properly. So I had a big meeting with Transport Manager Daniel, who is the nicest guy, and I am so pleased to have him on my side. Daniel, if you're watching, oh mate, thank you. Yeah, who's just educating me the things I'm doing wrong. We've got two drivers, one of them is absolutely shiny, one of whom I think it's down to the planners, hasn't worked out, you know, sort of, we got to get to the bottom on that one, and then me. Who's desperately trying to get the hang of this stuff. But anyway, so here we are in the Shed Breed. Right, so what did we do this week? Jumping from class 1 to a small van. Guy Smith says he was 42 years in class 1, 30 years as an owner driver. And as I said in the video, there's a big difference between driving a class 1 for a firm and driving a class 1 for yourself. You know, sort of, he says, he loved it. He said, there's bad days, but overall the job was enjoyable. Now he's in his 70s, kind of misses the job. I get that, mate. It kind of goes into your blood. It's a bit like, you know, the market trading thing or the boxing thing and all that kind of thing. Is when you leave it, it also leaves you. And it's like, you know, Hotel California. Check out any time you like, but you can never leave. So yeah, I get that. I'm starting to get that myself. I was saying to Daniel the other day, I'm actually driving around in the truck. I said, I have moments where the sky is blue and the windows are down and the music's right, and you go, oh, I love this. This is great. I'm getting paid to drive a Tonka toy. But anyway, that's just about me. Anyway, right, Bob Keane. He says the way he sees it, you know, on the class 1 small van, he says HGV drivers, they're the big defenders. The full-time courier van drivers, they're the crafty strikers, and the Uncle Alberts, they're Sunday League. He says, now don't get me wrong, he says, one day I want to be Sunday League. It's kind of him and a dog and his own van, just do his own thing. I get that, and it comes back to the Guy Smith thing. It's kind of like, I always thought in the markets, I'd never stop doing the markets, I'd just do less. I go down from like 6 days to 5 days to 4 days to 3 days, just like 1 or 2 days a week for pocket money, but still keeping around in. So you never retire, you're always there, because when you stop, you stop. But alas, that wasn't for me. So now I found myself another occupation where it could be for me. So I'm a lucky man on that score, I suppose. So, what did I say? Lemurs and Paul Wilkins said, you did explain to the driver that you were videoing in front of what you were doing, because I think he was filming you. I'm going to be honest, lads, I didn't even know there was anyone in the cab. Really should pay more attention. I don't know if I didn't know or really didn't, I want to say mind, but I mean care. I kind of thought if he jumped out and said, what you doing? I'll go, I'm doing a video for YouTube. You want to get in it? Kind of, yeah. So, thanks for the heads up. Anyway, I'll look out for that one in the future. Paul Davis says he's gone from a small van to a long wheelbase. He's moved the bulkhead back so that he's actually got a sleeper and a microwave and all that kind of stuff. It's not a long wheelbase anymore then, is it? It's a medium wheelbase now. You've just lost a pallet. But hey, if you've got yourself a long wheelbase van, half of it's for you, half of it's medium wheelbase for the job. Fair enough, that's okay. And Steve Campbell replies, of course he loves tramping. Have you ever been to Sunderland? As a matter of fact, I have been to Sunderland. I lived in Middlesbrough for 3 years when I was a young guy, when I was kind of a student boy before I started my career as market trader come thing. I went to Teesside Polytechnic, and I have friends from Sunderland and I have friends from Newcastle, and we will not be getting into the Mackham debate. And personally, I think you're all lovely. I think people up north are lovely and kind and have lots more time than some of the people I know. So although some of the people I know are very nice too. People are people. There you go. Tail lift didn't get much, but the only one I got on the tail lift video was Corrigine71 says, I have a bigger tail lift than my 3.5 ton. Then you have too big a tail lift on your 3.5 ton. You're only mucking around on a 3.5 ton with 850 kilos on a normal tail lift. If you've got a big tail lift, by the time you fit the tail lift, you can't actually carry anything unless you've got one that's made of helium or aluminium or something, which you probably have. So, but I would question that. We're going to get the tail lift MB now. Or maybe not. Right, that's kind of it on this week's videos. The miscellaneous, here we go. What we got? Bob Keane and... Oh yeah, Bob Keane says, Davs have an Espacha night heater. Mine's actually a white Besto night heater. And thanks to my transport manager, Daniel Garumba, who is also a pilot, who's also touched a cloud, I found out this morning. That's another story, and quite a beautiful one, I think, as well. Has he totally explained to me how the tail lift heater comes, so there'll probably be a video on how to work the Wheelbase heater. He even showed me where the smoke comes out of the pipe. It's been a very informative morning. Yeah, and I've got it all sussed now. He also says feedback. He said feedback is a decider, and I agree with him on this one. He said if you're cheap and you're quick, and then you look at the feedback and then you decide. I think, because we're going about how important is feedback. Feedback is not the be all and end all. Feedback is the deciding factor, I think, because if you're too far away and you've got the best feedback, I can't give you the job. And if you're too expensive and you've got the best feedback, I can't give you the job. But if you're close enough and you're cheap enough, then it comes down to feedback. I agree with you, mate. Not everybody agrees with us, but there you go. Mike Saunders. What if the place you turn up to gives you the wrong freight in transit and you collect 5 pallets not meant for you? Mate, I'm going to do you a video on that one. I've already marked it down. So that's coming up hopefully the next week or two. Is it Tara Fitzgerald? Jake Fitzgerald. He says, fair play, you built up a haulage business from an app on your phone. I am still doing it. And I'm not out of the woods yet. There's still an awful lot to learn. I'm still on infringements. I've got one driver on infringements. Every day's a school day, but I'm working on it, and I'm happy to share. And also, I'm very happy there's a load of people that watch that are also happy to share to help the people like me. That when you start, you don't have to go through the grief. I didn't have that much grief, but there are things that it's avoidable stuff, like, you know. So that's what we work on here, you know. Solidarity, brothers. Pay out to people. Gilhern Jort. He joined us 6 months, the CX 6 months ago. To begin with, he was happy with 150 quid a day. Now he tramps 120 to 150, and he's on the believe me, don't believe me, mate. I do believe you, and as I've said all the way along, and I will say again, the CX is not a magic wand. It doesn't work for everybody. No one is going to knock on your door and give you a pile of money. Certain areas are not as good as other areas, but it works for some, and it works for those guys that I met about 3 weeks ago. I did a video about it. The guy come up and so on, and it, you know, most of the people I've met that have said I joined the CX because of you, and you do meet them. You know, it's a small world when you're at the depot. It's just a matter of time before someone goes, "You're that guy," and they go, "Join because of you," and you're waiting for. I go, "How you getting on?" They all go, "Yeah, all right." No one's gone, "Yeah, hey," and no one's gone, "I hate you. I'm going to punch you in the face." But on the whole, people go, "Yeah, all right," which is all right, you know. Anyway, like the man says, believe me, don't believe me. Join, don't join. Sure, cool. Oh yeah, he said, "Oh, that's right." And he's making good money, and he's in a short wheelbase. And I've got to say, the figures you're making in a short wheelbase, well done. And also C11 Yan, he said he's done C11 Yan did a price breakdown this week of the money that you should be quoting and what you should be getting. And I know the guy's been in the game a long time and he knows what he's talking about. So maybe look him up on some of the notes between on the miscellaneous videos. I think what he says is the truth. It's only what I say. I don't know what other people are finding. All I can say is what I find. Godzillas, the diesel theft thing. You know, like when you parked up by the side of the road in a truck. He said there is a gadget which shoots off an alarm if the level drops and if you get there in time, which A, is going to be a big problem for me because my seats are already down because I've only got a day bed to try and get out. And B, what happens when you jump out of the van to find 3 bigger burly geezers, all of which are carrying box cars? And you're like, okay, take the diesel, you know? I had one geezer, I was on site and he turned around because he's always carrying an iron bar in the front. I used to carry a crowbar in the front of the van to do the thing. You know, sometimes they come in handy, something's fallen over, the door doesn't open correctly. But the problem is then you just going to escalate a situation. Having said that, it's not right that people should take stuff off you. So, again, guys, I'm going to have to leave you to decide that one. What I would do, I'll let you decide. But, yeah, you know, all I say is don't put yourself in unnecessary danger. It's not right what people take, but don't put yourself in unnecessary danger. He also says it doesn't hurt to have a dash cam. And another thing, he said he put a big ticket on his fuel tank that said red dye is added to this diesel because red diesel doesn't sell. Whether anyone's going to believe that or not, because if you add red dye to your own diesel and presumably you get a tug, they're going to go, it's red diesel. You're going to go, no, it's not. I'll show you petrol receipts. Yeah, but it's got red dye in it, you know. That one, I don't know where to tell you to go on that one. I'm sure I'll get a few comments on that. Harper Valentine, I did the Cockney thing. I am going to do some Cockney videos. I think I am going to do Cockney videos. I've got to write them down a little bit. I've got a few ideas in my head. If you're not interested, just flick over them. But one of my highest rating videos is about how to do money in Cockney, which is something I did a million years ago before I was even doing this. So if people are interested, and might be a bit comical, watch it if you like. He says, I'm technically a Cockney. This is up with Valentine, my mate. He's got his own channel. Check it out if you can. I did a video on Sunday with some t-shirts. He was born in Barts, which is the tolling sound of St Mary's the Bow Church, Cheapside. Yeah, now that's another mistake people make. You say if you're a Cockney, if you're born within the sound of Bow Bells, Bow Bell is not in Bow. Bow is kind of like Stratford Olympic Village way. Bow Bell is Mary's le Bow, which is kind of Smithfields. That sort of cheap side, I believe. Dave the taxi driver will put me right if I'm wrong, and I might need him to help me with his Cockney videos. Hello, mate. Yeah, it's Mary's le Bow, which is kind of it's Cheapside, Somerstown, that kind of way. So, and the KW mentioned on the video, he said a Commodore is 3 times a lady. Well, 15 quid. We used to say 3 times a lady, although technically 3 times a lady is a fiver, a lady Godiva, fiver, and 3 times a lady is 5 times 5 is 25, but that's a pony, so we call it a Commodore. Make of that what you will. There's a video on it. BH Haulage says, am I in D13 in the next few days? Mate, I only just picked this up when I write them down on a Sunday, so sorry, and to be honest with you, I don't know where I'm from 1 minute to the next, but there is a phone number you can ring, sort of, if you need us, give us a bell, because there's 3 of us on the go now. There's a good chance there might be somebody near you, and we're more than happy to help. A bit of free advertising for me there. It looks like Arsenal Gooner says, starting up, can you be a sole trader or do you need to be limited? This one comes up a lot. Start as a sole trader, work the rest out later. I am still a sole trader. I have a fear, in fact, if I actually want to go limited, I might have to reapply for my operators. Although, someone made this point, we'll come to it later on. Although I did actually, I've got the company name when I applied for the operator. So I applied for it in my name and the company name. So I don't know if that's true. We'll have to wait and see. Tara Twang. Starting on Tuesday on Long Wheelbase, probably pronounced that name wrong, so I probably screwed it down. Sorry about this. Long Wheelbase and MK. Any idea of pricing? Mate, there is a video on pricing. I will do a link if it doesn't appear straight away. Come back and watch the video another day. It will appear. I don't always get to do it in time because I'm, running 3 trucks now. But yeah, there is a video, or just Google it, or just stick it in. How much should you quote on the Cure Exchange? And although I made the video about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, I think the prices still stand. I don't think you should quote any cheaper. I know some people have. I think you hold your line. I think if you quote cheaper, you're only cutting your own throat. And as Al says, after a while, all the people that quote cheap will disappear, and then the people that quote the right money, the money's there, but you work it out yourself. C11 Yang again, in Wrexham. Oh yeah, he said in Wrexham, because I said about going up to Wrexham. Production started for Celebrity. I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. So it could be rigging, lighting, sound. It could be. I found on the whole that mob seem to have their own thing. They've got their own vans, their own way of doing it. Having said that, I have delivered film sets. So let's hope for the Welsh Liverpool mob, they might get a few quid out of the new Celebrity thing. Delivering kangaroo anus and widgety grub. I think if they're going to do it in this country, why make them let's do it in this country. Let them make delicacies that are available in England and Wales in the 18th century or the 15th century. I'm sure we can find out something horrible for them to watch. Personally, I don't watch it, because if it hasn't got a cape or an exploding helicopter, I'm not interested. Multiple feedback. We did one on this one, didn't we? BTH, he said the CX phone and said shippers can leave multiple phone back for different jobs, and Addy the Real Slim Shady has also said the same shipper gave him 2 feedback in September, so they can leave you more than one. How you get them to leave you more than one is down to you guys. I don't know. I don't deal with things anymore. Yorkshire Daily Grind. If you go, yeah, that was it. It's about the operator's license. Thanks very much for the heads up, mate. Like I say, it's probably not going to happen anytime in the near future, and I really don't want to have to apply for my operators again. It was a bit of a nonce to start with. I'm going to do one about mistakes you didn't make, but I haven't got around to doing that yet. Godzillas again, retaking. Oh yeah, this was a good one actually. There was a guy we did a video about one of the shipper threatening him to take him to court. He says, "We're taking you to court. If he takes you to court, this is an empty threat. If any shipper says he's going to take you to court, good luck with that." He says, "There's two things you need. Firstly, it needs to be an untruth. That's possibly so. Secondly, you need to have proof that it's had a negative effect on your business." Now, I had this when I wrote the book, and which is available from Amazon. There might be a link, or there might not. I don't know. I'm probably running out of links. Or if not, from the end screen to the video. It's very good. It's rolling red. Roller coaster of a novel. He says, because that's what I said with the libel thing. It's not just libel and libel. They can turn around and say, well, they did this to me and it's cost me my job, my life, my family, my wife. Or they can turn around and say, he did this to me, nothing's happened. There's a big difference between having, a libel case on the front page of the Sun and having your libel case printed on pages of 17 of the Dunstable Herald and Gazette. So it does make a difference on what it affects you. He said also a basic case is going to cost them at least £5,000. So the whole idea that a shipper threatened to take you to court, but don't get me wrong, this is what I know. It's not what I know, it's what I believe and what people have told me. I do believe that's kind of an idle threat. But anyway, we'll see. Hopefully nothing can come up. Like I say, if you work together, it shouldn't be an issue to begin with anyway. Moaning truck driver. Do you take out public liability insurance? Returnloads.net does ask for it, CX doesn't. You don't have to have it on CX. I recommend you get it. It's about what? My firm do it. I think it's about £100 per person per year. It might even be less than that for like £5 million worth of cover. For the money that it costs you to take it out, you're probably never ever going to need it. But if you do need it, you're going to be very grateful you took it. So it's up to you. I recommend it. Paul Wilkins, he said, I took your tip on. Oh yeah, he said, I took your tip on credit control. My wife now phones and she gets fobbed off less. I don't know what it is. But there's a big difference if you're a driver. Yeah, mate, okay, I'm going to bung, I'll bung that on in a minute. And then what you do is then you ring the missus and say, ring this guy back. And go, right, I've just had a phone call from one of my drivers. And he's been on site for an hour now. And you're going to, suddenly, if they think there's an office rather than a one-man band, they may take you more seriously. It also helps if you ring from a landline. Because if you ring from a mobile, ring from this is our office number, and suddenly I might think, okay, fine. It's kind of a bit like gets the piece of paper up to the top of the pile, if you know what I mean. You like when you're solicitors, there's just a big pile of paper. If you ring, they look at a bit of paper, read it, and then stick it on the top. You've got more chance of getting done. Tom Grindley, it's been running for a month now. He's in the Northwest. It's working out. Thanks, mate. My genuine pleasure. Any questions? You know where we are. Lee Westcott, can we do a video on different types of vans? Yeah, that's on its way. I'll put that in the book for you, mate. Wildcat Productions is going to give it a go. Good luck. Like I say, you know where we are if you need us. I say we in the royal we because I am just a mouth. The education comes from you lot. Now, it's like Robbie S. Kafka. Sorry, my friend. I wrote it down. I can't. It's a very long name with lots of letters. It's like Scrabble. You're just throwing them out on the board there. Not being offensive. It does look like you've just thrown out those letters there. How busy is it in Birmingham? Birmingham is a decent place to be. In fact, I did a video very recently about a guy that I met on site, and he's in Birmingham, and he's smashing it. Again, whether you will or not is down to you. Birmingham, decent place to be. You've got to bear in mind, the better the area, the more the drivers. It's a bit like, think of it like bumblebees. If you've got a field of flowers, you're going to have a load of bumblebees. If you've got a field of concrete, you're going to have no bumblebees. But if you've got a field of flowers, you've got half a chance of pollen. If you've got a field of concrete, you've got no chance of pollen. That's a very bizarre example. I don't know why I came up with it. Finish Kilwan, he said, is there enough work on the CX during Corona time? Well, I have been running all the way through. I've been doing jobs that I previously wouldn't have taken, working longer hours for less money. That's when it started with the Corona thing. Now we're into Loris. I don't think we're in Corona time now. I think we were in Corona time about 2-3 months ago when everything went into absolute lockdown, and it was basically Nurses, Amazon and Argos, which is what we were doing. Now things are starting to get back to normal. I can't comment on the future. I don't know. I mean, health is the most important thing, and I don't know how this is going to go. But at the moment, there is work. Normally, this would be a busy time for us because we're coming up to Christmas. There is work. There's one way to find out, my friend. Hold your nose and jump. Steve Campbell. He said you didn't have. He said you haven't done a video on how to deal with Royal Protection Police as I go past Buckhouse in a commercial. Right, guys, when driving in London, now we kind of go countrywide here. You can. It doesn't matter what. Firstly, you want to get yourself a truck sat nav or a van sat nav. You cannot drive around the parks. You can't drive around Regent's Park. You can't drive around Hyde Park. The cars can. You can't. You can't drive down the Mall. You can't drive Buckingham Palace. I have driven a 3.5 ton van, which again is a commercial. This isn't 7.5 ton. This is vans. If it's a commercial vehicle, you can't do it. Past the Mall one day when there was sort of a terrorist scare going on, and been pulled over by two youngish looking coppers, one man, one lady, in bulletproof vests with submachine guns. They said, "What have you got in the back of your van?" I said, "Pence," which largely was what I was selling at the time. They were nice people. They shook my hand. They're nice people. They will understand that some people don't know, but you can't drive around certain areas in London in a commercial vehicle. Worth knowing. Matthew McDonald, I hope you got away with it, mate. Sounds okay. Matthew McDonald, been on a CX for 4 weeks in South Wales. He's fallen on his feet, but he said you have to be in it to win it, and he's exactly right. I mean, like I said all the way along, not a magic wand, but no one's going to knock on your door and say, "Here's some dough." The only way to get on is to get involved, and then to be actively involved and go, "Well, I can go this way, I can go that way." He ended up, I think he managed to get himself like a deal or a contract or something like that. South Wales is not a great area, but he got lucky, and there's only one way you're going to get lucky, and that's to play the game. If you don't play the game, you can't get lucky. You just can't get anything. So, anyway, good luck, everybody. Conclusion time. Bob Keane, he says, so you're in the truck, you got the O licence, you got the Yorkie bar. What about the right, left, right indicator thing? Not right, left, right for me, my friend. It's indicate left to pull in, and as soon as you pull in, after they flash the lights, 2 flashes to the right, possibly 3. If I think he hasn't seen me. Everyone's got their own signature. I used to do Kendo, and there was this girl I watched, and everybody else put their little bamboo shinai swordie away. This girl went like that, did a flicky thing, and I thought, I really want to copy that, but it looks a bit flash, and it's not really about being flash. And then when I went to try and do it, I realised it was more difficult than you realise. But I think if I could have copied it, I would. No, a bit of panache. Like when you're a gunfighter, you know, they wiggle the gun before they put it in. I've always wanted to be able to do that, could never do it. What else we got here? Oh, he said, I went on Bob Keane on tail lifts. He said, why do I have Thunderbirds in my head? You know, that sort of thing. I have an idea. I have an idea that if we ever get up to that 6 trucks or many trucks, I'm going to spend a lot of time making sure the trucks are maintained, watching everything go out, looking after end user customers. And I have an idea that if one of our trucks gets stranded, say for example it comes out of hours, it gets as far as Milton Keynes, it's out of hours, it could park up, and then I could drive to the truck on like a motorbike. Never driven a motorbike. I actually fell off on my CPC and bruised my leg, and my wife says you ain't going back on a bike. But just like one of them little normal sort of, might be a moped or a little sort of, you know, I kind of fancy one of them Triumph Bonneville old bikes. I'm getting old now, aren't I? Not like plastic bullets where you have to lean in. You could drive to the truck, get it on the tail lift, get it on the back, strap it in, and then drive the truck back. And I said this to Al, and he went, "Oh, you mean Thunderbird 4?" I thought, yeah, Thunderbird 4. Didn't really want to end up as a guy in a submarine though. But hey, destiny is what it is, isn't it? So, Sir Rob 7 says, he said you have the nicest room or living room I've ever seen. Thank you very much, my friend. I love it. It's my family home. I kind of, when I do the videos, I was kind of half hoping that maybe somebody with a film script might want it for the next Jude Law Cameron Diaz film, because I could get a few quid out of it because, you know, at the time, you know. But no, thank you very much. I love it. When I was a kid, I went to see Sword in the Stone with Merlin, and Merlin had the most interesting house because he had like a metronome, and then he had like a plane, and because it was because he'd travelled back in time, it's like they wouldn't see a plane. And I always kind of wanted a living room that you could fill up full of interesting things, and I have been very lucky in the fact that I've been able to do that. But thank you very much for your kind comment. And finally, Longfinger says he's going to be tramping soon. Can anybody recommend the best place to go for? I'm going to call it personal services. Mate, it's a family show. I don't swear on these videos. Anybody who's met me in real life? Mate, One guy, I think it was Bob Keane, did say, I'm curious now if Pete's going to mention it. Yeah, I'm going to mention it very quietly at the end. In the meantime, from me and Vince the Bout, that's it for Sunday Q&A. Hope you're all well. Christmas is coming. Take care, take money.